Getting fancy with all these recordings.
Yeah, that's yeah, I love it. So, right on, Michael. How you doing, man? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I look forward to this. This is kind of like the capstone of my week. I do this and then I'm like, I'm good until my Saturday morning. We do a Saturday morning Q&A, but between now and Saturday, it's just me and Olivia. So this is fun way to wrap up the week.
Nice, nice. I love it. So, we were talking before we got started rolling on the video, and
Mhm.
specifically, we were talking about Wednesday's call, man. I had such good positive feedback. We did a squat up. It's in the squat up group. You can also find it on Michael's face on his YouTube channel. But we
Mhm.
just talked a lot about what's going on in the economy and the fact that there's so much opportunity for 2021. Why don't you elaborate a little bit more on the opportunity?
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to talk about. So first off, your Wednesday sessions with Squad Up are inspiring, right? The opening up, talking about wins, the energy, the vibe that's going on, asking questions, people helping people. It's pretty special. Plus, 3, 4, 5 of the folks have been on my show and are just awesome folks. So nicely done. And I look forward to your Squad Up growing. Right there are more agents and realtors that need to be a part of it. So my hope is people watch this, see this, and sign up or join. So make sure where do you want them to go? If somebody sees it on my channel, where do you want them to go to sign up and be a part of what you're doing?
Squad-up.com. And
Pretty
they'll, what'll
simple.
happen is you'll get
Squad.
the links. Yeah. They'll get the
Yeah.
links if they go to squad-up.com. And actually, I'll change my name here in a minute. I'll rename and just put that in there so it's easy for people to find.
Cool.
But the beauty is that we do a lot. We do a 9 a.m. group. You're a big part of the conversation. We do the 12 p.m. on Wednesdays. It's tons of free value. Like we have somebody from
Mm-hmm.
Tony Robbins coming on next Wednesday to talk about peak
Yep.
performance. So thank you. And we love having you as a regular guest. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so no problem. So the outcome of that event for me is because I decompressed after that, going, wow, lots of energy, people really doing things, right? That's the big thing about Squad Up is everybody's on and there's doing stuff, right? They're not just talking, which is so impressive. But as I decompressed after it, I was like, I hope my message resonated. And the message I want that group, and frankly, everybody who watches my channel, reads my book, takes my courses, is we have huge opportunities ahead of us. Yes, we have a new administration that's going to spend a lot. Yes, we have this, that, other thing happening around us. Do not let that stuff distract you because we have this unique window where you're going to have cheap 30-year money that you can get now that will look ridiculously cheap at some point in the future as inflation takes off. You will have the benefit of both inflation and rent and in value. So that should translate to you very simply. Your balance sheet, your family balance sheet will look better and your family income statement will look better. But folks, you've got to do the work now. Don't let the distraction, the negative naysayers, the people that are talking about a crash, folks, there is no crash coming. It's mathematically impossible. Could there be an adjustment in 2, 3, 4 years? Sure, but an adjustment's not a crash. And again, do the math because a 10% drop with a 2% interest rate increase means paying more with a lower interest rate means you win, right? So there's all these cross currents, and I don't want people to miss this opportunity. I remember 2010. It was my most active year. And what I remember about it is twofold. First, it was the only time every deal in the MLS was a deal. I mean, everything. It was bananas. And then the second thing is how many people say, next time, I'll be ready next time. Folks, now's the time to do the work. We are just coming out of this health crisis. You've got another 30, 60, 90 days, and still we are flexing ourselves as the consumers. If you take my course, you should be able to get through it in 30 or 60 days and know your market, know what's average, and you will be dangerous because you will know the market for your fine-tuned asset better than anybody else. Lastly, be a part of Squad Up. If you want to be in an environment, if you're a realtor and you're nervous about listings and inventory and all of that, it's going to change. We talked about it on Wednesday. The beauty about what is coming is if you're an agent who is active and ready, you will get 2 transactions for every deal. Go talk to people that bought 5 years ago because they're going to sell because they're going to be sitting on 50, 60, 80 grand of equity, and they're going to want to upgrade. So go get the sell and the buy, but you've got to be ready. You've got to be active. You've got to be talking to agents, doing stuff, whether it's Ty, Adrian, Omar, whoever. Get after it. So the opportunity is in front of you, but if you don't do the work, I don't want to hear you complain. That's my thinking to start the conversation.
I love it. I love it. So something we talked about in, Adrian and I and Omar, and of course you, were big followers of Tony Robbins. Tony has a quote, and I think it's maybe, it's one of his most important quotes, but he talks about, and he has lots of great quotes, but this in itself, I think really, really stands out as one of his top ideas and thoughts, is that proximity is power.
Yeah.
Proximity is power. And, talking about the circle and that, like, so as an example for me, I know that the minute I met Michael, and I was telling this story last night at a big meetup in the Central Valley, is the minute I met Michael, I'm like, this guy is really smart. He's a go-giver. He loves to share. He's active in the business. I had no idea then, Michael, I'm laughing. I had no idea how successful you are, right? So like, even then I was just like, this guy's humble. This guy like really knows his stuff. So just maybe one last thought, or just one more thought about like proximity and power in your peer group. And what has that been like in your life experience?
Well, first off, it's everything, right? So if I go back to when I was a successful sales rep, first line, second line sales leader, being around and cultivating who is in your inner circle, right? That first set is everything. You need to attract positive people, not positive like they're making stuff up, but people that are contributing, go giving, that amplify goodness, don't amplify negativity, right? One of the things I would do as a leader is I would seek out negativity and I would remove it from the system, either by, hey, we need to have a conversation, stop that, or here's a pink slip, time to go. Because again, our job as sales professionals who were mainly paid on commission, right? We had a small base salary and everything else was commission, kind of like, not like agents are all commission, right? So again, you need to be in an environment where everybody is positive. If you get one negative contributor, it's like a cancer. It can destroy the whole organism. So I would seek it out as the leader and I would remove it first by a casual conversation. And second would be a pink slip. Like, I'm done. Cancer, be gone, right? You got to nuke it with, radiation or whatever. But yeah, it is imperative. And one of the things that I have learned now teaching 1,000 students how to learn a market, and it's humbling to know that I have over 1,000 students now, and it's growing nearly every day. Is I created a Facebook group, private. I'm the only monitor, and the only way you get in is buy the course, because that way we speak the same language. Everybody is doing the same things, and we're celebrating offers. That's how awesome my group is, because if you do the homework, your job is to understand average, and then you write good or great offers. It doesn't mean you get the deal, because that requires the seller to say yes. But if you wrote a good or a great offer and you got declined, I want to applaud you, stand up and hooray, and then tell you to do it again, because it's a volume business. So that's imperative. And that's what I felt from being a part of Squad Up. I'll be at the next event with Tony Robbins as an active listener. I want to be around positive people going in the right direction and doing the work. That is so important to me going forward.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. So one of the things too, we talked about, and we're talking about your environment, and that, let's talk about the environment here. I think, the interesting thing I heard somebody say this week as a reminder, it's like, this is the most important piece of real estate on the globe, right? It's like, what's going on in here? Let's talk about like self-talk and mindset, and let's maybe get some of your thoughts on that, because I don't think we've really visited that much together on this channel.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've done a good job. I'm an open book, and I'm willing to talk about this, right? So yeah, the real estate 6 inches between your ears, if you will, is the most valuable and the most dangerous. So I'll tell you a couple of times where I've because again, I am just naturally a positive thinker, right? I'm always looking forward, but I'll tell you kind of three times that this almost got me. So first time, right? I wrote about this a little bit in the book. It's about year 10 of our journey. by all accounts, we are probably, most people would say, successful. We're not quite 100 units yet, but we're close. We've got plenty of cash flow. We're still working because we want to, not because we have to. And we just visit like our, I don't know, 13th or 14th housewarming party, right? So in this instance, somebody who reported to me, right? So I'm here in the organization and they're there, direct report. And we go to their housewarming party and it's a nice spot, right? The Bay Area is expensive. I live in a condo. They have a house. I have no backyard. He has a backyard. I have no pool, or I have a shared pool because of the community. He has his own pool. I mean, it's just like all of these things, right? And I remember leaving that and breaking down to the point I had to pull the car over because my head whatever got in my head would make me feel like a failure. I'm higher in the organization, got a fancy title, got a bunch of real estate that, most people don't know, probably have a higher net worth, probably all these things. But then, we're going to pull up in with a 10-year-old car into a, condo that we bought, 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And I just felt like a failure for a moment, literally like a failure. I mean, like tears in my eyes. I don't cry a lot, but I remember being that emotional. Pulled over. Olivia's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "You got to drive home. I know we're only 2 miles from home, but I'm not sure I can get us there safely. You have to drive." So she gets us home. She's like, "What is wrong with you? What are you doing?" So then I tell her, and we have it out, and she helps me gets right. And lo and behold, 5 years later, we're financially free. We have what we have, and that individual still works and probably has to work until he's in his 60s. But still, that freaking negative self-talk just gets in your head. And then another situation. So now I'm financially free, right? We have them. I've spent a week telling everybody I'm done. And now it's like Monday or Tuesday and I'm still up at 6 a.m. because my body clock is just wired that way. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, you lazy SOB? Just all this stuff just continually spirals. Like you're not contributing, you're wasting your talents. People are going to call you a loser. And oh, by the way, I don't have to work ever again. And I'm still just. So that's when I had to find the next thing. And the next thing was write the book, create the channel, contribute to others. And that's been enough because I only do it, like I usually do it just till 10 o'clock, right? 9 or 10 o'clock. And that's enough every day. And I do it 7 days a week because I want to, not because I have to. And now I feel so much better, right? I'm happy, right? And then the last one I'll talk about is the YouTube channel's taken off. Subscribers are growing. I think I'm at 13,000 or something like that. And for whatever reason, one of my crash videos take off, right? I think it was my interview with Brian Lebo about Las Vegas, right? Yeah. And whatever, it takes off. It gets like 50,000 views in a minute where normally I get, 1 to 4,000. And I'm like, whoa, people like to hear about crash. And then I do another one on San Francisco and another crash. And pretty soon I've done like 10 crash videos in a 3-week span, which the titles are all negative. Maybe half of them are generally negative. The other half is, hey, negative, but opportunities coming. But I just feel horrible. And my views are skyrocketing, right? I made $3,000 on YouTube in December and felt like crap. So I'm like, you know what? I'm never doing a crash video again. I hate it. I just don't feel like myself, right? I'll do it's not going to crash video, which doesn't get any views, right? Telling somebody it's not going to crash doesn't get any views. Talking about San Francisco or Vegas crashing, lots of views, but I don't feel good at the end of that. And I just won't do them. So, instead of making $3,000 in January, I made 1,500. And I'm like, good, I feel better. I'm not going to do videos just for the YouTube algorithm. It's not who I am. I don't need it. And I hate the way I felt when I'm done with them. So those are 3 times this got in my head and I had to get away.
What a great share, man. Thank you for sharing that with us. And specifically like the housewarming, like yeah. I can totally see like how that would just, here you are, you're doing your thing, you're investing, you're thinking long-term, you're sacrificing, you're, living below your means, you're doing all the right things. And for some reason inside, you're like having this emotional, like, maybe yeah. This isn't right thing. Maybe. Yeah. So no, I love it, man. I love your discipline too, to just keep your eye on the prize. Right.
Yeah, well, it doesn't, it takes, there's a couple of times I wasn't on and then Olivia kicked me back on. So I always try to give credit where credit is due. And it's wonderful having a partner that has my back.
I love that. That's awesome. So, a couple of things that so I'm talking with my good friend Joe D, also talking with a good friend of mine, Marshall, and we talk in the mornings almost every morning, Monday through Friday. Um, and they watched the Wednesday show, and then they started watching your YouTube content, and then they're like, dude, please send me a book, send me a book. So like, I'm like, hey, and then it's even interesting too, like really, really smart guys I know are like emailing me things. Hey man, can you do me a favor and have Michael read this and then talk about it on the show? So that was part of it. Alex,
Yeah.
on Wednesday you did as well, which, some of the, people talking about monetary and fiat currency and all that. So I want to bring it back. Something we talked about before we rolled the show is that, and then I think it's perfect because I think it ties back to the story of the housewarming party.
Yeah.
Talk to us about The Millionaire Next Door, the book.
Yep.
Also, the book, I believe, is their follow-up book, is Richer Than a Millionaire.
Yeah.
And talk to us about happiness and just kind of your thoughts about these two books, maybe even show the covers and
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of what we talked about before we started.
So one of the treasures I've had in doing this YouTube channel is I've got to meet two authors of books that I really like. So the first one, we didn't talk about this earlier, but it's on my desk, Extreme Ownership. Probably seen this one from Jocko Willink. I got my autograph from Jocko Willink. I got to meet him. So thank you, Jocko, for that. That was awesome. I'll put that right back here. But also one of those books, right? I've talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad changing my life, but the other one was The Millionaire Next Door. And I was nice enough to have William Danko autograph this for me. Millionaire Next Door was that book that was like, you know what? I could do something, right? Yeah. Yes, there is more wealth out there. And again, wealth isn't the flash and dash. It isn't the big hat, no cattle. That's like said on book page 1 or page 2 of the book, meaning all fancy cars, fancy house. The Millionaire Next Door really showed me that if you can live below your means, lots of things are possible. So again, seminal book. But as you know, I'm going through the 75 hard day challenge, and something I've done that's really I've changed my morning routine. I'm a routine oriented person. For the last 20 years, I've woke up, had coffee, read financial news. But as I said in my share, it started to get to me. So I started the 75 day challenge 29 days ago. Today's day 29. And now I read the first thing. So I've just finished the second book called Richer Than a Millionaire. Just finished it this morning. And this is about, balancing physical, money, and being happy, right? It's all of these aspects that come together. And, one of the things that I just noted, I don't highlight books a lot, but I did highlight this, put this on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, one run at a time. It comes from chapter 3, Money In, Money Out. The quote was, one cannot build net worth until the discipline to save more, consume less becomes ingrained. We also find in our research that those who do achieve millionaire status report that they save 20% of their income annually. That's a foreign concept to folks, right? Living below your means, sacrifice, needs versus wants. These are all things I talk about all the time. It was a real pleasure to see that documented in this book. And that really leads to being happy. When you don't have the financial stress of having too much month and not enough money, life gets easier. The whole reason we were to accelerate our path to financial freedom is not the first 40 grand we started with, because that was gone after 3 houses. It was the fact that we started living below our means. We lived 10%, 20%. We got down to 50% of our income because we got rid of our need or our wants. We just cut them out. We had a 10-year-old car. We lived in a condo and we could have upgraded a dozen times. We made the sacrifices. We did the stuff that nobody wanted to do for 10 or 15 years, and now we can do whatever we want. Folks, there's a path to financial freedom. It starts with living below your means, plugging the holes in your family's financial budgets, learning a market, buying assets, making more income where you can, either at your day job or in a side hustle. It's that simple. And if you do it for a decade, you can get there. So it's happiness is a big deal for me. Sometimes I let it get away from me, but everything I do going forward, the first thing I ask is this going to make me happier? And Yeah, it's an important thing because, again, as I said in my second share, it's you know how much of a failure I felt being retired at 45? Think about that. Retiring at 45, never having to work again, and you feel like a failure. How absolutely stupid is that? It's just silly.
Yeah. Wow, man. That is crazy. That thank you for sharing that. And so it's funny that that book, The Millionaire Next Door, I want to say it was about 25 years ago, and
Oh yeah.
it caught a lot of buzz, but it's really, I have not heard anybody talk about it. And it's interesting. I think that, again, I love the fact that we're bringing it back to the surface. And so, are you working on another book?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. So I'm working on, basically what I'm doing now is I've been trying to find the next book for a while. And what I've anchored on is I'm going to help the middle class get stronger and bigger. And I think that takes three things. And this is the unique thing about the book that I'm just sketching out right now. Is one is it takes buying assets, which I got wired. You can read about it in the first book. Second, it's talking about understanding your family budget, right? Income statement, balance sheet, all of that. And then the third piece of that triangle is earning more money, whether that's earning more money in your day job or via a side hustle, right? A passion project. So I'm building a book, an outline right now that's going to tie all of those three things together. It's actually going to be written in a way where you could start wherever you want, right? Most books are like start page 1, go to page 200. It's going to be, hey, if you think your first thing is this, go here. If your first thing is this, go there. Because I trust you all, everybody needs to understand those three things, but it's at different points in your journey. So I'm really sketching that out right now. That will be another book. There will be 3 courses in there because I think they're all independent. But yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I just told Olivia last night, I finally have the idea for the next book.
Yes. Synergy, man. I love it. I love it. Didn't even know we didn't talk about the book.
No, we
I
didn't.
knew to bring it up because here's the thing is that I want to just share for everybody watching, anybody who's listening to this or watching, that literally Michael, do yourself a favor and get involved with Michael. You know, we talk a lot about assets, we talk a lot about investment, but the greatest asset you have is your mind, your
Mm,
mindset. The the most valuable piece of real estate is those 6 inches between your ears.
mhm.
It's your
Yeah,
mindset. And so the Barry Habib said it when he was on. Barry Habib is world class. The number one investment, invest in yourself, invest in your mindset, continue to grow and learn. It's
yeah,
the one common trait that across the board, if you look at the billionaires, you look at any successful athlete, any successful entertainer, anybody out there who's really successful and doing it at a high level, one common trait: growth. They're
yep.
learning, they're reinvesting in themselves, they're constantly learning and growing. So, with that said, I want people to know, how can they get involved with your mentorship? And I know it's like, I know I'm in it. I bought it a long time ago. I love it. I'm like, I
Yeah,
remember it wasn't expensive. It
yeah,
was it was very affordable and like
yeah.
economic. It was tremendous value. Let's put it that way. It's something normally you'd see for $1,000, $2,000, and I forget what I pay. How much are you charging for that
I
now?
only charge 199. I've had many people come up to me and tell me I should raise it to 499 or even 997 because I give so much away. And I add stuff, right? Like right now I'm adding the private money section. I'm even getting other experts to add stuff. I'm going to keep it the same. When I complete that section, if my contributors add enough, I may raise it just to balance it out, but uh, I'm not doing it. I don't need it to be 499 or 997. I do it because if you're going to buy it, I think you'll do the work. If it was free, you wouldn't do the work.
Yep.
So it's 197. And then, oh, by the way, the real treasure in all of this is I give the private Facebook for free. Most trainers and educators or whatever out there, okay, buy my course. And then, oh, by the way, if you want the network, you got to buy that also on a monthly fee. I'm like, no, I have this thing I talk about on Sundays called the positive impact score. That's how I'm judging my life. And the positive impact score is how am I touching people and improving their life, all the way from a YouTube click to one of my students doing a deal.
Yeah.
Think about that. 1 point for this, 10 points for that, 100 points for this, 100,000 points if I can get somebody in my course to do a deal. It's an awesome feeling. I love looking at that every Friday. I am trying to impact people's lives. And, an extra $100 isn't going to do anything for me. So I'm going to keep it there because I can. And I want to keep it there because if you buy it, you're going to do the work. And then I created a $97 course around budgeting and getting your money right and all of that, because it's really separate. You need it at different times. Maybe you need it, maybe you don't. But yeah, it is so fun to look at the numbers on Sunday. And it's the first thing, it's my goals video. I've been doing it 3 or 4 weeks now. And I actually have it right here. My positive impact score from 1 to
Yeah.
100,000. I'm serious. This is how I judge myself every week, is what is my impact on other people been?
It's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level, Michael. I love it, man. Thank you so much for sharing. Where do they, if they want to just to buy the course, if they want to buy the budget course, I'm going to buy the budget course. Where do people buy the courses at?
Yeah. So if you want, you can go a couple of places. The easiest place probably is youtube.com. All of my descriptions of the videos, there's a link to the course. If you want to go to onerentalatatime.com, they're there. Yeah, it shouldn't be hard, or you can text me or DM me on Instagram and I'll send you the link. I probably need to do a better job I do no marketing. I don't pay any marketing.
You never promote or pitch ever.
No, it's not who I am.
You never promote or pitch, but I felt like because you give so much to the listeners, I want to bring that to the surface. And like that, but I know also too, there's a lot of people that are really in love with your content and want to go deeper. I know that when the way I looked at it when I signed up was like, a lot of the stuff and the techniques, the strategies, the mindset, I know a lot of the stuff, but the reason specifically why I signed up for it was it's that 5 to 7 to 12%, that 8 to 12% that maybe I know it, but I'm not actually living it.
Yeah.
I'm not actually doing it. It's not a part of my habit. It's not a part of my DNA yet.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. But then also too, I look forward to getting, in fact, I need to get back on it. I know we spend time on Friday now, but getting back on, because I know that those first Saturdays, I feel like it was like 5 or 6 in a row. I would have 3 or 4 questions and you answer every single question, right?
Every question.
Stay on until everything's answered, right?
So far, yeah. I mean, I look forward to the day that I can't do that, because I have an hour allocated and I'll talk the whole hour if people ask questions.
I love it. I love it. So thank you. Please follow Michael. Do yourself a favor. Follow him on YouTube. He's at One Rental at a Time. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. You can obviously find him online at onerentalatatime.com. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you for all you do and all you give, man. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for finishing my Friday. I appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you.